Hey, friends, how are you on this evening? So glad that you're with me. This is your first time joining with me. My name is James Perkins. I'm a therapist here in North Carolina, and man, I love what I do. Um, every Wednesday, I have been doing a segment called Wellness Wednesday where we get a chance to talk about various aspects of what it takes to sustain or maintain your mental and emotional health. And so tonight, um, I just wanted to jump on very briefly to talk about one thing specifically, and I look forward to sharing it with you. But if you're listening to me as you're coming on in, let me know where you're chiming in from, city and state. I would love to greet you, shout you out. Um, Again, my name is James Perkins. I'm a licensed therapist here in North Carolina, where I work with individuals and couples, talk about a variety of different issues, to be honest with you. And I really am passionate about the work that I do. Man, I really count it a sacred privilege, to be honest with you, that people give me a chance to be able to enter into their stories and their journeys and let me into that. And so again, if you're coming on in, I want to give people a couple more moments to come on in. Make sure my things are set up here. Um, and I wanted to talk very briefly again around this thought um, about what is driving your fear. What is driving your fear? Um, so recently, I had a session with the client, and we were came across this um, what I would say aspect of fear that this individual was kind of grappling with as it relates to a transition that he was making. And there were two important questions that I invited him to ask to really get beneath what was driving his fear. Because the reality is that we all have fears. It is what I say is what we do with our fears that really determines what's going to be our response and how we show up on any given day and in any given moment. So there are two important questions I think we need to ask ourselves if we really want to get beneath what is driving our fear of fill in the blank. So it could be a fear about if you're going to graduate, if you're going to be able to send your kids to college, if you're going to make it through this pandemic, or you're going to have a job. You can really insert any fear in that blank. Um, and but there are two important questions you need to ask yourself as it relates to that fear to be able to surface the beliefs that are driving it. Because as I talk about, a lot of what is driving our fear around a certain thing happening is our belief about it. And so the first question you want to ask yourself as it pertains to trying to surface what is driving the fear is what is the belief that I have, or let me rephrase that. What do I have to believe in order for this fear to be true? What do I have to believe in order for this fear to be true? What do I have to believe in order for this fear to be true? So that's the first question you want to ask yourself is, Dr. Cynthia, good to see you. Um, is to ask yourself, what is the belief that I have to believe in order for this fear to be true? So if you have this fear that you're not going to be in another committed relationship, perhaps, you need to ask yourself the question, what is it that I have to believe in order for that fear to be true? That's the first question. And then the second question that you want to ask yourself is, um, what if the story that I'm telling myself about this belief is not true? What does that make possible? That's a really good question, right? Yeah. So that second question you want to ask yourself is, what if the story or the belief that I'm telling myself about why this belief is true is not is not accurate? What if it's not true? What does that make possible? Let me clean that statement up. So the first question, just to recap, is you're asking yourself, um, what do I have to believe in order for that fear to be true? So what is the story that I'm telling myself? And so what do I have to believe? You're trying to connect with what is the driving narrative or belief that's driving that fear. So you're asking yourself, what do I have to believe in order for that fear to be true? The second question you're asking yourself is, if that fear, or excuse me, if the story that I'm telling myself about that fear is not true, what does that make possible? Okay. Asking these two questions will help you to surface, one, what are the underlying stories, what are the unconscious stories that you may not be aware of that are driving the emotion, driving the energy behind this fear. I want to stop and pause. Anybody got any questions for me? How does this resonate? Give me a thumbs up if this is resonating with you. Some hearts. Let me know that I'm tapping into something, okay? I have a delay on my end, so I can't see. I'm gonna wait a couple of moments. Or just put in the comments, you're on point, you're on point. Or thumbs up. Don't leave me hanging. All right. So asking these two questions are really important. I'm going to repeat them to you because I want you to take them home. I want you to think about tonight. What is it that I'm currently anxious about? Love these questions. Dr. Cynthia, let me see. Love these questions. What do I have to believe in order for that fear to be true? What if the story belief that I'm telling myself about the fear is not true? What does that make possible? Yes, these are the two questions that we're asking. Because what you want to think about tonight is um, absolutely, we cannot hold fear and love at the same time. I definitely agree with you there, Dr. Cynthia. Um, because what I think what's really important to understand, right, is that every fear that we have, there is a narrative surrounding that fear. There is a story that we're telling ourselves about that. And oftentimes, these stories that we are telling ourselves are unconscious. And the reason that they're unconscious to us, if you will, are because of two things. One, our brain does not like to, our brain is set up for productivity and efficiency. So it does not like to repeat the same task over again. So, whatever we say to ourselves in words, pictures, and images, our brain hardwires that information because it interprets it as something that's important and it pays attention to it. And what it says to itself is, wow, James keeps saying this over and over again, so this must be true. So this is important. So we're going to hardwire that information. And once that information gets hardwired into your subconscious, you start to make decisions from it without you even realizing that you're doing it. This is why when you wake up in the morning and you go to brush your teeth, you're not thinking about moving your toothbrush to the left or to the right or up and down. And the reason you're not thinking about it is because you've done that specific task for so long that your brain is hardwired it into your brain. And so you do it unconsciously. So if you unconsciously, or so if you've been repeating to yourself that I'm not enough, that I don't have what it takes, that I will not succeed, that um, I can't complete this degree, I'm not going to be in a fruitful relationship, I'm only going to make this amount of money, um, and you've been repeating that stuff to you, you're repeating that to yourself over and over again. What happens is your brain pays attention to the information in it and it hardwires it as belief. And then what it does from that point is that It goes to look for supportive evidence to reinforce the belief that you're holding. This is where it's really getting deep tonight. Yeah, that's really deep, right? Your brain goes to find supportive evidence to reinforce what you're already believing. So, what it does is it looks through your history, it looks through your experiences, and it says it points out, see, this is why dot dot dot. So if you have this belief that it's not okay to trust anyone, it's not okay to be vulnerable, right? And you have this experience in this relationship where your trust is betrayed, you're dropped, not handled wisely. What your brain will do is use that as supportive evidence to reinforce the belief that you already have that it's not okay to trust anyone. And so all your decisions are beginning to be made by these unconscious beliefs. But if we're asking ourselves, going back to these two important questions, um, what is the story that we are telling ourselves? Dr. Cynthia I'm glad you put that in the comments. Asking ourselves these two questions that, what do I have to believe in order for that fear to be true? This is going to, I say again, help us to surface those beliefs. And then the second question is going to help us really in dismantling them or taking away the energy from it, which is what if the story or belief that I'm telling myself about that fear is not true? What does that make possible? These two questions are foundational, are questions that you can ask in any area or domain of your life, and they will serve you for the foreseeable future. And so I just really want to jump on and share those two thoughts with you. I'm really glad that you guys joined me tonight. Again, even if you're coming in my replay, let me know where you're chiming in from. And if you're saying to yourself, like, man, these are two really good questions, and I want to unpack them further with you, you can schedule a session with me, jamesperkins.help, and you'll see a link that says schedule consultation. If you're one of the people that want to talk before you make a commitment, you can schedule that. You can do that. Or if you say, hey, man, I'm convinced already, I want to book an appointment, there's a book an appointment link in the top right-hand corner. And so glad you guys showed up with me to talk about these two things. If you have any questions, hey, drop them in the comment section. I'm still going to be engaging with you even after this video is over. All right, friends, I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Actually, before I jump off, let me know, did anybody else have any questions? If you have any questions, I want to give maybe about 30 seconds for you to drop them in the chat for any clarification before I jump off. Okay, I'm going to give you guys that. And okay, let me see if any questions come through. If not, your boy's going to be out. All right, friends. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section for me, and I'll be looking to engage with you. And I look forward to serving you on next week. So next week I'll see you back here. And until then, be safe.